Okay. Who has some good news to share? Markia. You got all kinds of good news. You're not getting off that easy.
I closed on the investment property on Friday.
Your own personal.
Yes, I have a closing on the 20th that I'm excited about. And I submitted a contract yesterday for my client. So hopefully I can go on a contract for them and close in January. So I have a lot of exciting things going on.
Yes. And so for those who sometimes ask me,
Oh, Jesus.
for those who sometimes ask me, is it true that business slows down around the holidays? What would you say?
No, busier.
If you stop working.
Yeah, this is what I say. It only gets slow around the holidays if you do. Otherwise, I mean, there have been years where I've had 5 closings in December and then a bunch more in January because I didn't slow down. And so, you know, I was working November, and Thanksgiving's just one day, and you have to wear elastic waist, but the rest of the time you better, you know, get dressed and get out there working if that's your goal to do something with your life. So anyway, thank you. I appreciate that. Well, so what we're going to do tonight is talk about, we're going to do a little script role play, and Donnie has volunteered to be the realtor, and he gets to pick the style. So I just want to go over, for everybody's familiar with DISC, or just Terry, are you familiar with the DISC?
The DISC, like
So-
the test.
Yeah, so the DISC identifies different personality styles. So the D style are very, you can tell a lot of times D styles because they speak very quickly and they're very to the point, that you can watch them fidgeting when things go on too long or an explanation gets too detailed. That's somebody who's a high D. They typically are very decisive. They want things very quickly. They want bullet points. The I's are people that are influential. So these are people who are just bright and shiny, and you know, you go to a party and they're the ones that are like, hey, how are you? Oh my gosh, tell me what's been going on. It's so great to see you. And the energy is usually high. They have a different style of wanting information. For me, I'm a high D, high I. It's got to be fun. If you're talking to me and we're not having a good time, unless it's something I enjoy talking about, boy, I'm out of there. So if you're a listing appointment with me and you're not making it fun or making some jokes that I can laugh at, I'm probably not going to list with you. I'm probably just going to be like, how soon can I get them out of here? The C style, the S style comes next, and they're people who are nurturers, right? You find a lot of nurses, a lot of caregivers in the S range. Who have a lot of S in their personality. Just so you know, we're all a little bit of everything, but it's what you lead with that typically is how we are going to approach this evening. And then the C style, these are people like accountants and financial people. Bill has a lot of C, spreadsheets, org charts, or charts in general, statistics. That's how you're going to win them over. So this is kind of you can refer to this. And then I wanted to give you also, let me just see if I can do this. These are some closing, where did I put that? Here. Closing styles for, okay, here it is, sorry. They're closing, oh, Nadine's here, good. So they're closing styles for different personalities. And this handout, I'm pretty sure Bill has loaded it in the drive, but if not, just let me know and I'll email it to you. Okay, so hang on, I'm just getting to the closing scripts because I want you to have that on the screen as well. So does everybody feel like they have a fairly good idea of how to, because you're going to do the same thing. The listing appointment is going to be pretty much the same thing. So here's what I would like to say. Does everybody know what a pre-listing packet is?
No.
Okay, thank you. So a pre-listing packet is a way to differentiate yourself from other realtors. In your pre-listing packet, typically I have my presentation, that I download from KW Command. So I've created a presentation and print it out. I tailor it to VIP pre-listing guide for such and such name for Donnie Wall or Donnie and Susie Wall. And I print that out. I put that on one side. On the other side, I put on that side also goes tips for getting your home ready to photograph. And then on the other side are all the documents needed to be signed. So I'll have the listing agreement, I'll have the seller's property disclosure, the community association disclosure, and a purchase and sale agreement. So I can review that with them in case they have questions about that. So that goes in my listing, in my pre-listing presentation that goes on the left side, I've dealt with things like the commission. I've dealt with things like marketing, what kind of marketing they can expect from me. So all of that is out of the way. So I send that over, and I love Dustin's idea to Uber it over. I used to drop it off, hand drop it off, but put it in a nice envelope, put it in a nice folder. We've got those KW folders if you don't want to have one branded to your company, but Uber it over the day of or the day before, and let them know that you're sending it and say, I hope you have a chance to review this before we meet on Wednesday at 5 p.m. Then when you get there Wednesday at 5 p.m., if they haven't read through it, then you need to review that with them. But it also is an indication of how motivated they are, right? Because that's a little homework for them, but it's important homework for them. So you have to deal with both. And D's might not do it. I's might pick it up and intend to do it, not look at it. So you're gonna need to allow time in case they didn't. The other thing, so when you go into your listing appointment, it's knock knock. I'll just review it really quickly. It's knock knock. Hi. Hey, thank you so much for having me over tonight. I know that there are lots of realtors out there, thousands in fact, so I really appreciate that you're giving me the opportunity to meet with you this evening. That means a lot to me. Thank you. And then they're going to invite you in. I often will take off my shoes, or I'll say, would you like me to take off my shoes? And if I notice there's shoes at the front door and they're in their stocking feet, I always take my shoes off. So I always make sure I have a pair of socks on when I go on a listing appointment, just for that, so I don't have to walk around their house barefoot. Which is kind of right for them and me. Then typically what will happen is they want to show you the house. There are all different ways to do this, but what I like to say is, you know what, before I go look at the house, which I really want to do, that's really important, I'd love to go sit at the kitchen table with you and just make sure that I understand your needs, so that I make sure that that I have a real good feel for what it is you're after. How does that sound? And they'll always say, sure, because you've just said how important they are and that their needs are really more important to you than selling the house, right? So then we'll sit at the kitchen table. That's when you go over that seller intake sheet and say, I know you answered these questions. I want to make sure that I wrote everything down and that I heard everything correctly. So I'm going to go through the seller intake sheet with them again. I'm going to say, tell me a little bit about your house. What upgrades have you made in the past 5 years? How many bedrooms do you have? How many baths do you have? I've done that prior to the listing appointment so that I can pull the correct comps. But then I also am going to go over it just to make sure there's nothing they thought of that they forgot, that kind of thing. And then after that, I'm going to say, you know what? If you haven't looked at the guide, if you haven't looked at the pre-listing guide, why don't you just take a look at that? And I'm just going to quick run through your house. And the reason you do that is because it'll take you a lot less time. If they show you their house, they're going to show you, and you're going to feel compelled to comment on the baby picture and the nursery. And then you're going to get into a conversation about that. Nothing wrong with that, but your goal for a listing appointment is to get in, understand what their needs are, get the listing documents signed, and then go. So after I looked at the house, I come back and I say, tell me about what you think your home is worth. And then they'll give you an idea. Whether you have to adjust and deal with an objection at that point. If they're within the ball game, you could say, here are some comps that justify that. Here's some, and I don't say comps, that's our lingo. I say, here are some similar properties that we can use as a guide for what's selling, but that is likely to indicate what your home will sell for. So I present those to them and I say, which one looks like your house? What do you feel about this? How does that compare with your house? That kind of thing. It starts to help them understand what other buyers are seeing. And then once you come to terms with a price, then you ask for the business. It's like, I'm ready to get started. I've got the paperwork all ready to sign. Do you have any questions for me before we sign? And I get to work for you. That's kind of how I do it. There's different closes for different personality types, and I've posted those here so you can read these scripts if you want to. So any questions before we get started with the role play?
No.
Okay.
Did
Donnie,
you post it in the chat? I'm sorry. Was it in the chat you posted it?
I will post this. I posted the disc handout for what the different personalities are. This one is a power, it's kind of a PDF with a lot of slides on it. So I didn't know how to post just one, but I'll make sure this is in the drive. Also, you should have gotten an email with this, because I think she sent it out to everybody. If you did not get the email, let me know and I'll send this to you, because there's also a link to the recording of the class Selling with Influence that Cynthia put on.
Mhm.
Okay, so just let me know. All right, so Donnie's going to be the realtor. Who wants to be the seller? That's the easy part.
I'll be the seller.
Thank you. All right, so Donnie, you're just pulling up. And also, remember, you've pulled up about 5 minutes early. Nothing worse than being late for a listing appointment. They're watching out the window for you, right? Sometimes they've cleaned their house for you, sometimes they haven't. If they offer you water, accept it. I don't always drink it because I don't know if it's tap water or bottled water. But I'll sit there with it and hold it in my hand and just not drink it, right?
Yeah, they're trying to be accommodating, which is good. So,
But that's just kind of a gracious thing. The other thing is, before we get started, there are those who think that you should show up at a house, South, we show up at the house with the hostess gift. So depending on who it is and if they're strangers or if they're people I know, I might take a gift. I might take like a candle, something they can burn for when they get their house on the market for showings, that kind of thing. So, but that's up to you.
okay. And just to make sure, is it Taria? Is that how I say it?
Terria.
Oh, Taria. I'm glad I asked. I apologize.
You're fine.
Taria. All right. So we going?
Which personality style are you going for, Donnie?
Let Taria, decide when I knock on the door. How about that?
Okay. Terry, do you know which one of these you fall into or which ones you fall into most?
I think I'm more of a D.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so Donnie, you're going to present to a D. So you're going to, one of the things you want to do with the D is make sure you set a time expectation for how long you're going to be there.
Okay, cool. All right, knock, knock, knock.
Oh, hi, Donnie. Welcome to our humble abode.
Hey, Taria, thank you so much for having me over. I'm so excited right now, and I hope you are too. You mind if I step in real quick?
Sure. Did you bring me anything?
No, I got my shoe covers though. I see you got a beautiful carpet and everything like that. So I'm just gonna put these on unless you want me to take my shoes off. Which one would you prefer?
Oh, no, you're fine. The shoe covers are fine.
Okay, beautiful. I'm gonna put these on. And just so you know, what I plan on doing is I kind of want to, take a seat with you real quick and kind of go over some things. And then after I do that, I would love to just kind of walk around the house real quick and just see, the product that I'm trying to sell for you. I have a really good, eye for houses and, things that could be easily presentable to buyers and stuff like that. So if you don't mind, we can do that. Probably the whole thing will take about no more than 40 minutes. Is that good for you?
Okay, that's great. That's great.
Awesome. Well, let's have a seat over here. So I know I sent you over a little checklist of things that you want to go through. First off, what's the main reason right now for you wanting to sell?
We need more space. My living room is doubling as a playroom, and I just need an extra room for the kids.
Okay. How many kids do you have? I see one over there. Do you have more than one or?
Yes, I have two.
Two. All right. Definitely time to upgrade, huh?
Yeah, yes. They are overcrowding each other.
Are they sharing a bedroom or they got separate
Yes.
bedrooms?
They got the bunk beds.
Oh, okay. And they're getting to that age where they need a separate room, right?
Yeah.
Awesome,
Fighting
awesome.
on
I understand that, absolutely. So have you looked at an area to go to yet?
We actually want to stay in Decatur. Everybody's here. It's just I hate driving. I literally with a passion. So I just need to stay close to where I can get to my family quickly.
Okay, so it sounds like you know what you want and you know what needs to be done, right?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, I have a survey here I want you to fill out, just kind of, a little bit about your house. And while you do this, I'm going to take a quick tour and I'm just going to walk around, see what's going on and go from there. Is that okay?
Okay. I didn't clean up, but it's cool though, right?
I promise, if you've seen my house, there's no judgment, okay? All
Okay. Okay.
right, so give me a couple minutes. I'm gonna walk around real quick.
Okay.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, you got a beautiful home, and yeah, I'm really excited to work with you right now because we can definitely sell this house. You're gonna be surprised on what's gonna happen once we list it and go from there. So tell me, what are some concerns you have?
I want to make sure that I can sell this house for top dollar
Mhm.
because we just put a new roof on and we just redid the foundation and we got new appliances and they're gonna go with the house.
Well, I tell you what, those are all phenomenal things we're going to actually mention as we're listing the house to attract more buyers than you would think. Does that sound good?
Yes, that sounds great.
Absolutely. Just trying to get a ballpark. What do you think your house is worth? I'm sure you've done your research, right?
$2 million.
$2 million. All right. Well, I mean, I understand you love your house. Don't get me wrong, but I just want to show you some comps. If you're good with that, I got it right here. The houses we're looking at, and you pick the one that's more similar to your house, but we're getting like 1.3 mil, 1.5 mil. There is one for 2.3 mil, but I'll tell you what, you look at these and you kind of just tell me what's more similar to your house.
Okay. So the ones that are in the 1.5 range are actually a bit more similar as it relates to square footage. So I can see where I might be having a little emotional attachment to this house.
Okay. So what if we did, we did the median, we did the 1.5 mil. And in today's market, I mean, we're getting offers higher than what's asking. Now, I'm not saying, it's going to be the case, but we could do that and then see what happens. Does that sound good?
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Okay.
If you have enough eyes on it, it might go up anyway.
Awesome. Awesome. And so just to let you know what I'm going to do for you is I don't just list your house and say good luck. Okay. So I'm going to post your house on every single social media there is. I got Instagram, I got Facebook, I got Twitter. And on Facebook, I'm part of multiple groups. Georgia Legacy Group, Keller Williams Realty Group. I mean, I got thousands of agents that are constantly looking at my posts. So I'm going to start there. And then after that, I'm actually going to go door to door. I just want to let your neighbors know, hey, by the way, this house is being sold. If you got family, great, let them know. If you got friends who are interested, let them know. That's what we're going to do. And then also, even though we get some offers, I plan on doing an open house. And I'm going to post that on the social media too, because I want to get the most exposure for your property. Does that sound good?
It sounds great.
Great, exactly. And you know what you have to do? Just sit back, let me work. Take the stress off, all right? I'm going to sell your house. That's why you're hiring me. Okay?
Okay.
All
That
right.
sounds, yeah, let's do that.
Okay, great. So I'll tell you what, I have the agreement here. All I need is a couple signatures. So we've agreed on 1.5, correct?
Correct.
Awesome. All right. Well, if you don't mind signing here and we'll be good to go and we'll get things started. All right.
Do you know about how soon we will be able to get it sold?
So in today's market, it's really based off pricing. You know, your average $500,000 house is going for about 7 days on the market. So you got to take a little more days when you're talking about a $1.5 million house. So I don't want to give a set time.
Mhm.
What kind of time were you looking at?
I just want to make sure that everything is done by the time school starts. I have my nephew is staying with me. He's in college. I want to make sure I can take care of him appropriately.
Absolutely. Well, I don't like to set a guaranteed time, but I will tell you, in today's market, you know, this priced house, we're looking at about, you know, like 1 to 3 months. Okay.
Okay. Okay. I can live with that.
All right. Awesome. Well, you know, like I said, sign here. We agreed on that. And do you have any, HOA fees, or let's go over to the disclosure form if you don't mind.
Okay.
Okay. So you signed the agreement, right?
Yep.
Okay. We'll go over the disclosure another time.
Yeah. It's my signature. Hold on to it. It's gonna be worth millions.
I like it. I like it. So I was probably horrible at that, but I was just kind of
What?
winging
I was like, oh, okay,
it. I was just kind of winging it.
You did good.
okay.
I'm just
Yeah.
gonna say, great job, Donnie. Great job, Teria. You both did fantastic. I know this is my bad. I forgot to say, when I send over the pre-listing guide, I'm gonna be, there's some forms in there for you to fill out as well. One's called the seller property disclosure and the other is the community association disclosure. If you can have those filled out before I come, that would be just much appreciated. And you're gonna need those no matter what. So that way you don't have to sit there where they fill them out, right? And I always say, if you have any questions, just give me a call and I'll put a little note of how to fill it out. Like, for instance, your seller's property disclosure is your first impression that people get about who you are as a seller. If it's neat and it looks, and the answers are, let's say this, not careless, then people have an idea that you've taken care of your home. So for instance, if you say, has there ever been any leaking? And you say yes, and then you put pipe burst. Well, that doesn't tell me much. And if it's in sloppy handwriting, that's another thing, because I did it too quick. So what you want to see, and what I advise people to do, is say, so what people would like to see on when you answer that, wherever you've put yes, is the pipe burst in the winter of 2020 in the master bedroom closet. A plumber was called immediately. The pipe was repaired, and a qualified or a contractor was called to complete the cosmetic repair. Receipts available upon request, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
So I would caution them or I would talk to them about that before the listing appointment, so you don't have to do that. But that was my bad because I didn't bring that up. So would you like to have some feedback?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So there was
I know I messed up, so.
there was a lot of really good things in there. The very first thing I noticed was you did great when you came into the house, but then you talked about the home being a product. So I would just, instead of using the word product, like, I'd like to get this product sold, it's still their home. So just make sure that you're using not our lingo, but their lingo. I can tell you, as a flight attendant, we used to say, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be changing equipment because this one has a mechanical. And people are like, changing equipment? What does that mean? Are they going to put in a new engine? But really what it meant was we were going to put them on a different plane, because we called planes equipment. But nobody knew that but us, right? So we had to change our verbiage to what they understood. So our lingo, like comps and all those kinds of things, that's our stuff. That's why we have the scripts to practice, so that they've been created for someone else's, for the listener, let's put it that way. So that was good. You did a great job asking about the kids and helping her to understand, or finding out that she needed more bedrooms. That was good. You did a good job asking about where Teria wanted to go. She said she was going to stay in Decatur. So that you've got some good data there. I wasn't sure when you said the survey, you said something about a survey.
Did I say sir? I meant like checklist of, like what we
Oh,
sent.
okay.
over.
Okay,
Did I
so
say
here's it.
survey?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I heard
Oh,
survey.
my
And
bad.
I
I
just
don't know
wasn't sure
why.
what that was.
I
So
kind
that
of
was,
got in the moment and just started talking. So sometimes
yeah,
I
you were in the flow.
forget what I'm saying. Yeah.
Okay, good job complimenting her about the home. Good job saying, I want to walk around for a few minutes by myself. That was good. And then you said something about a surprise. Do you remember that? Does anybody remember that? I just wrote down surprise.
You say you'll be surprised at how well
Yeah,
how
you'll
it
be
goes, something like that.
after I said like I love the house or something like that, I said you'd be surprised at how well your house is gonna market, I think is what I said.
Okay. Yeah, so they may or may not be surprised. I might be like, well, who are you? I think my home's great already. So
Yeah.
I might be a little
Alright.
cautious about using that.
Okay.
And then you did really good. And then all of a sudden you said, what concerns do you have? And I thought, well, even if I didn't have any concerns, I'm going to think of some because he asked me.
Yeah, you're
So
right.
just
You're right.
change that up to, do you have any questions?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. And then they can express concerns or they can say, oh, how soon can we get started?
Okay.
So just change that verbiage. She talked about the new roof, the foundation, the appliances. That was great. And then I would just say you were really, you were very consultative in a lot of places. And then there were a couple of places where you were selling. And the place where I heard you sell the most was where you were talking about, we're going to do so much and I'm going to, anyway, promise less, deliver more. That's what I would say. Be
Okay.
a little bit lower key, be confident, and you don't have to, your pre-listing package talks about your marketing and all this, all of those, unless they haven't read through it, in which case you've gone through it with them, which talks about your marketing. So you don't have to sell them on it, in other words. So I love the parts where you were being very listening and helping to understand and being very consultative. Terry threw you a little glitch there, and she said, "I think my home's worth 2 million." And I thought you were going to come back and say, "Well, the other homes that are similar to you are selling for 250,000." But you did a good job of keeping it in that range. And the other thing I would say is give her a range. Like for instance, I don't ever set the price of the home, and I want them to tell me. So I'm saying, based on what you're seeing here, a range that's telling us that these homes a home like yours will sell, and use the comps when she asks about the number of days for selling. What the evidence is here is that the homes in these price range, which are similar to yours, between 1.5 and 1.7, are selling within 45 days. So where in that range would you like to be? Do you want to sell faster? Do you want to sell toward the end, toward the longer end of that? What works for you? And then let them set the price, that kind of thing. So you don't have to be, if they say, well, you said my home was going to be 1.5, and you have to go back and ask for 1.3 because it's not selling. And you don't want them to say, I loved when you said, help me understand. Let's see, do for you good, door to door. Yeah, the things you were going to do, that's all marketing. And then she gave you some. So one of the things that we do as realtors is we identify new business. So when you walked into this listing appointment, you were thinking about the sale of that particular home, but she needs to buy a home. So you did a good job kind of circling around there, because that's a conversation another date. But you could also say, do you need to move into your home before this one sells? Because she did create some urgency around the school. So you could have said, we do have some programs that allow you to buy a home before you sell this one. If you'd like more information about that, I'd love to be able to help you with that as well. That way you secure both sides of it. And then she talked about her nephew in college. And that can be a conversation, not at the listing appointment, but that can be on your radar that, hey, did you know, for creating wealth, that it's a great idea to buy a house in the area where your nephew is going to school, if he's going to school and living on campus. And then he can have his mortgage paid by his roommates, and it creates a little bit of cash flow for you, right? So he gets to basically his living for free, And then also you're creating an investment property if you're the one who buys it for him, or that might be a something to talk about the brother or sister who's the
Parent.
father or mother of the nephew, right? So 3 potential pieces of business from that one listing.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
I see where you're going.
And it's all consulting and it's all helping because they might not know that they can create wealth that way. And that's, I mean, to have a, you know, you have to put some parents co-sign for those properties, for the leases, right? Because the kids don't have any money. And I'm talking about the roommates, and there are hefty security deposits in case those kids like to party instead of study.
Yeah.
So any questions about tonight? Anybody have any comments that they heard or would like to feedback they'd like to share?
Take criticism well, by the way, so let me know.
So let
I
me just,
haven't gone on any, so I think you did a great job.
I do too. I do
Okay,
too.
thank you. Thank you.
And I just
Mhm.
want to say, if you walk into a list, and this is from the class, I don't know if any of you got a chance to take the class. So if you didn't, let me know and I'll get Kathleen to send you the recording. I'll also be glad to send whomever this deck, because it talks about it just goes, what is DISC? Identifying it over the phone or through email. Different ones, things to listen for. If they use short sentences, if they talk fast, they're probably D. They make decisions fast. The eyes want to make a connection, right? So I'll be glad to send this out to you all. But what if you go into a listing appointment and the husband's a D and the wife isn't C? What do you do then? So what was suggested in this class is that this agent who created this class said that when the D is obviously dominating the conversation, making decisions, the C person is sitting there very quietly and, you know, listening to everything. So what she does is she'll put her hand in front of her, not in front of that person, but in front of her, pointed to that person who's not talking. And she'll say, you know, Mary, you've been really quiet during this whole time. I'd just love to know what's going through your head. What thoughts are you having? And are there any questions I can answer for you? And that way you acknowledge that person. They are going to be so grateful to have a chance to talk, because if they're around a spouse who talks all the time and talks over them and is dominant, this is a chance for you to honor them and talk about them. So that's a way that you can handle when you have 2 different personality styles. Or if one is a D and one is an I, you can be like, you know what? We've talked about a lot of detail. We've talked about the bullet points right here. Now let's talk about the fun. You know, you talk to that I person, say, let's talk about the fun. I'm going to do an open house on Sunday. And so we're going to have all the showings start then. And hopefully we're going to get the house under contract, so you don't have to keep this house clean every weekend. Different market. If I always take charts and graphs just in case somebody reveals themselves to be a closet S. So I always take the absorption report. I always will take I'll do the CMA, you know, and make sure that I have the CMA with me instead of just I usually do like a binder book with the buyer full and then the 12 pictures behind it of the home. But I'll make sure that I take every stat I can find about that. Other thing I would just say about listing appointments, any listing appointment, research the neighborhood. So for instance, if you're going to, I use this all the time, but if you're going to Horseshoe Bend, I just research it. Okay, here it is. Oh, sorry, got to put in Roswell. Okay. Horseshoe Bend, there's a community association. So I can go in here and I can read all about this. It's got over 1,200 homes. You know, it tells me all about it. So I can go in there and I can be knowledgeable about their community so that I don't be surprised when they go, well, do you know about the walking trail? And you're like, yes. You don't want to do that. You want to be like, you know what? One of the things I love about your neighborhood is that paved walking trail that goes through the woods along the river. That is so fantastic. Do you all utilize that much? You know, so you can demonstrate that it's just one step above somebody who's going in just looking at the home and not knowing what the whole neighborhood is about. Any questions before we go? Did you all find this helpful?
Yes, very much so.
I'm so glad. I wonder if anybody ever would say no. Anyway, you know you
Oh,
can
you
reach
know
out.
everything. You got all the answers.
You know you can reach out if you have any questions. If you're getting ready to go on a listing appointment and you want to practice a little bit, you don't have a role play partner, get a role play partner first. But if you can't, then just call me and we'll role play a little bit. Okay.
I'll be happy to role play if anybody doesn't have a partner.
Cool.
I like role playing. It's what I've done for like 10 years.
It works.
Yeah.
Like practicing the piano so you can play a song. All right. Well, everybody have a great evening. I will see you next Monday. Post in the dual career what topic you'd like for us to discuss. We can continue this one and role play different personality styles if you want to. But if there's anything else that's burning that you'd like to work on, just let me know and we'll make that the topic.
Thank you, Candace.
Okay.
Thank
Sounds
you.
good.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.